My name is Benson Edagwa. I'm an associate professor here at the University of Nebraska Medical Center in the Department of Pharmacology and Experimental Neuroscience. I'm also a co-founder of a biotech company called HIV Therapeutics that is focused on developing long-lasting medicines for chronic conditions like HIV. We all understand that HIV is a global health challenge, and by going by the data from the UNAIDS program on AIDS, we know that Africa is the most hit continent with this HIV AIDS pandemic. So it's like the epicenter of HIV AIDS. In Kenya alone, which is part of the East Africa, we do have 1.5 million HIV cases at the moment. And breaking that down further, we have close to 40,000 new infections each year. And when you think about the number of deaths, we are recording close to 20,000 deaths every year. And then when you further break down that, you find out that, the number of people that are affected either directly or indirectly by this HIV epidemic is just huge, both adults and children. So we have close to half million children that are living without parents. They've lost both parents to HIV. So when that happens, these underage children are forced either to take care of, to take the role of the parents in the family, or sometimes they are withdrawn from schools to take care of their sick parents, or moved around extended family members. And when that happens in the case of underage children, we start seeing things like child abuse. So HIV has really caused so much devastation around the African continent, even though we have medicines that could help, prevent such effects. So what we are trying to do here at the University of Nebraska Medical Center and the HIV Therapeutics is trying to come up with smarter ways to make it convenient for such populations that are disproportionately affected by this disease to be able to access and also be able to overcome these challenges by use of long-lasting medicines. I actually grew up in a village on a farm in Kenya, very remote place. And I remember growing up, I used to walk more than 10 miles a day to high school, each day. And when it came to going to the college, in my country it's a little bit different from here in the US. So what happens in my country is, after your high school education, there is a kind of a universal or standardized test that everyone takes. And then a board somewhere just, sits and decide where you get placed. So I was originally placed to attend law school in a big city in our country, but my dad was not happy at all. So he was like, okay, you grew up in a village. There is no way you're going to go to this big city. So the only option I had was to either find a way of changing from that big city college to a remote college, or continue staying at home and just do farming with my parents. So I traveled to the city with my dad. We tried to transfer, and the only option we had at that time was changing from law to science. So I changed to a little, I would say, remote institution, and that is where I attended my science bachelor's degree in chemistry. But there were no excellent facilities like the ones we have here for research. So that is how now I started thinking about graduate programs and what I could do to further my interest in HIV research. So I would say coming to this country was one of the turning points in my career, and I came to Louisiana State University for my PhD in chemistry. Then after I earned my PhD in chemistry, I moved to the University of Nebraska Medical Center to join the research program in Penn Department under the direction of Dr. Howard Gendelman, who hired me as a postdoc. And then I have risen through the ranks to my current position as a faculty member, where I'm also engaged in mentorship of graduate students and also part of the external collaborations we have around HIV and other diseases. Xavier Therapeutics is a startup biotech company that is built around viable, innovative approaches that we developed in our laboratory. So this biotech company is basically focused on developing effective, long-lasting medicines against chronic conditions like HIV. So, and my role in this company as a co-founder is because I'm a co-founder, I'll be playing a critical role in making some of the strategic plans and key decisions to achieve the vision and mission of this company. So that's my role with this startup company. It's very important because, in scientific research, when you make a discovery, for it to have any impact, it has to be reproduced. So what that nature communications means is that, our technology is reliable. So we've had a contract research lab and an independent lab reproduce our work, and this was in an experiment that was blinded. So they came up with the same conclusions that indeed the observation that we made sometime last year, that we've developed a medicine that could be given once every year to prevent HIV infections, was real. So what that means is the technology is reliable. We have a system that we can definitely build upon to get these medicines into human trials. One of the other important observations that we've been able to make, or advances that we've been able to make in our most recent publications, is the mechanisms behind the long-lasting medicines. Because, we were kind of surprised, when we made that observation, because here we are only giving a very small dose of the medicine to animals. And we were kind of surprised because, how could such a lower dose stay in the system for a year? So we really wanted to understand the mechanisms or processes behind, that caused the drug to last in the human body for that duration. So that was one of the experiments that we performed, and right now I can say we do have some level of understanding of the mechanisms behind that long-lasting medicine. Then, of course, we've been able to combine the long-lasting effective medicines together with gene editing technologies to report the first cure of HIV in a mouse model of disease. So this is really exciting time for us. So to explain the science behind chemistry, I will try to go back to what the existing medicines do. So we all understand that, existing HIV medicines or treatments are very effective at, making those that are sick live a near normal life. But the main problem with these medicines, they don't really get effectively into restricted, what we call restricted areas of the body, due to their, how they were just made of physical chemical properties. And then the other problem, of course, there is what we call pill fatigue, or where these, medicines have to be taken every day to have an effect. So the science behind this, or the chemistry behind these long-acting medicines that we engineered in our lab, is to, one, enable these medicines that have been shown to be safe and effective to get into those areas that are restricted, to suppress virus replication for a long period of time. And then also what this will do is, it allows those that are having this disease not to worry about, carrying around medicines and pills wherever they have to travel So that in itself helps us, it helps these patients overcome things like stigma. So, and going back to the mechanisms or the process by which these medicines work is, once they are delivered into a human, into a body, so they get into cells, and once inside these cells, the body's own enzymes or bodily fluids, things like blood, slowly convert them into active form. It's like, having a storage of, storage in your house whereby, you keep your food stuff, and whatever you want to use it, you can go into that storage and be able to get what you want and, make a meal. So that is how we designed these platforms. The benefits of long-lasting antiretroviral therapies are enormous. So when you just think about, the major advances we've seen in the area of HIV therapeutics, it's very clear that, if those at risk are able to take medicines on a daily basis as prescribed by physicians, they will be able to protect themselves against infection. But we know that, there is a problem when it comes to asking people to take medicines, and especially for healthy individuals to take medicines or a pill every day. So one of the benefits that long-acting medicines are going to have is in the area of HIV prevention. So you can imagine, having a single shot that can keep individuals safe from acquiring HIV or transmitting HIV for up to a year. We've seen that, with flu vaccines, but, the only difference between this approach and flu vaccines, in this case, the medicine itself is the one going to do the job. Unlike, vaccines where you have, a biological system training our bodies on how to keep off infections. So here the drug itself is going to be the one doing the job of preventing the virus from inserting its genetic material into our DNA. And the other immediate effect, benefit we've seen even during this pandemic, we've learned a lot from this COVID-19. We've seen lockdowns. And when you have things like lockdowns, you have those that could benefit from daily pills being affected because, they have to go to hospitals to collect their pills. So if you have something that can give someone, the peace of mind that you don't have to move around to go to hospitals, collect pills, that will be a very big advantage. So there are so many benefits when you think about, long-lasting medicines in terms of, preventing mother-to-child transmission, preventing young kids from acquiring HIV during development in their mother's wombs or after birth or during nursing. The benefits are enormous, and we think this will be one of the tools that we need to really get rid of HIV from the planet. Every time I come to work, I would say I'm very much impressed by what our team does on a daily basis. So each day we've continued to make progress over time. So going back, when we started this work, our goal was to make something that could be given once every month. And the other focus was to try to make something that could be given with the less injection volume. But, we surpassed that goal. We ended up with something that can be given once every year. So that in itself was a very huge progress within, we kind of surpassed the goals that we had set. And, that gives me hope that, every goal that we set is achievable. And also, we've been able to continue to build collaborations. Like right now, as we speak, we have an active ongoing collaboration with the scientists from the Clinton Health Access Initiative who are very experienced in developing scalable schemes for large-scale production of some of these medicines. And we will also, harness on their expertise to distribute some of these medicines in resource-limited settings. So when you think about all those components, I'm very much impressed with the advances that we've made, And I'm even more excited because now we have a vehicle in HIV therapeutics that will move these discoveries into patients. Kenya is a resource-limited country. So, and resource-limited countries have a lot of challenges. Now, we are still struggling with we have so many challenges, and one of the challenges that we struggle with are tropical infections. So right now, many hospitals are overburdened. Healthcare providers are kind of left between what I would say a rock and hard place to make decisions on what patients to attend to. So we don't have really very good, healthcare systems in every part of the country. So having medicines that could be given less frequently, or those that could protect healthy individuals like adolescents from acquiring HIV, then I think that would help us achieve a healthy society whereby these young individuals will be able to work and build our economy. So this is not only going to just help the public health, but it's also going to help in terms of economy. So those are some of the benefits I see from such, such long-lasting medicines. Growing up, I saw a lot of suffering in the society. I actually lost my uncle to HIV, and I remember growing up, we used to, as you would have an uncle, you would go closer to them, he used to support everyone in the extended family. And when he became sick, we were told not to get anywhere close to him, so we watched him die. And also, growing up, I lost several friends to AIDS-related illnesses. So stigma is a big problem. So I came across, a young child that was actually was almost committing suicide because of the discrimination he faced in school. So what happened in this case was, this kid was born with HIV, but somehow the mother kept it in secret. So the mother did not tell the kid that, she had HIV. And, the kid lived with the condition. He was sick, the mother died. And, when the mother died, so the physicians had to reach out to this kid and, to just let them know that they had HIV, because the mother was trying to keep it, as a secret, even though the kid was taking medicine, but the kid did not know what the medicines were treating. So when the kid knew about, his condition, it was very heartbreaking, because, it was like, he was the only kid in the family, because, he was the last born. He was the only kid in the family with HIV. Okay, the mom had divorced from the dad, because, when the husband learned that the wife was having HIV, so they divorced. So it was very heartbreaking. So now this physician decided to talk to the head teacher, or the principal of the school where this kid used to attend, to let them know that, once in a while we will require this kid to come to the hospital for checkup and to collect medicines. So what this principal did, instead of keeping that, confidential, he spoke to other faculty members or teachers around the school. And those teachers now, in the process of, sharing that information, it got to everyone around the school. So everyone was talking about, this kid HIV. So the kid had no option. He actually left school. He was almost committing suicide, and it was very sad. And then also growing up, I also, around in 2006, there was actually a lot of news in the media. It was very sad, because as I mentioned in my earlier, when parents die of HIV, what happens with the kids? They are kind of, passed around amongst, members of the extended family. So there was this kid that was, was taken in by an uncle, and, it was very sad, because the uncle ended up killing this kid because of their condition. So That is why I say that, uh, stigma is real in those countries, or in my country and many other African countries. So anyone that has HIV, they actually don't take their medicines when everyone is seeing. They either take their medicines at night or in secret. So you can imagine if you have now to go to health individuals and tell them that, you need to start taking some of these HIV medicines to protect yourselves from infection. That will be a big problem. And that is why, if you have something that is long lasting, that can be taken confidentially in a hospital setting, that would make, this disease go away. So that is why, I see a lot of hope in some of the technologies that we and others are developing to overcome this disease. All I can say is, we have the tools to eliminate HIV. So what we have to do is to really continue to make it more convenient for those that need these medicines to be able to take them. So we've seen a lot of success with things like contraceptives in even resource-limited settings. So having technologies or tools that would make it convenient for these patients or those that need these medicines to take them without errors, then we are going to have success. And getting the 1990 targets, I think it's something that we can achieve, because right now we have very effective medicines. All we have to do is to really come up with alternatives that will make it convenient for the users to be able to use them.